I'm going to vote. Can we change that? I'm voting now.
We still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks for watching.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you lack, the past just pulls you back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on. Just carries
Hey, good evening. Welcome to NUFC Matters Fans Forum, sponsored by Malverno Wine. Well, not really. But I just thought I'd stick that on there because me and George, as you can see, George is there at the top. Looks fairly compass mentis, but we have been out drinking a little bit of Malverno wine with his son Mitch, who I know is either hanging on the banister or sitting to the left or right of him. But good evening, welcome to the Fans Forum.
Yeah.
And
he's asleep on the settee at the moment.
Great stuff. Anyway, thank you to Portofino's restaurant who put up with us for the second NUFC Matters get together this festive season, and it's been a great opportunity to catch up with Mitch and his dad today. Obviously caught up with Stu Penman. And not managed to catch up with Steve Hasty yet, but it will happen, I'm sure. But great stuff. Thank you to everybody who has contributed to the Malverno Fund. There we go. We don't even put that on there. They don't even pay any sponsorship. But at the end of the day, we actually give them money. But yeah, great red wine. And we've had a great day today. So great to catch up with Mitch and his dad. And welcome to NUFC Matters for the... not the final show, because me and George will be live tomorrow at 1 o'clock before I head to Burnley to watch Newcastle United play in their last Premier League game tomorrow afternoon. But welcome to the last Fans Forum of 2025. And me and George were talking today over a bottle of red wine, or 3, or 4, or 5. And we said, what should we start the show with tonight? And I said, you know what? Darren is going to be so negative. It's not worth talking about Manchester United. I said, so let's, for the first half of the show, ask everybody what they got for their Christmas presents. So, George, what did you get for Christmas?
Well, I got quite a few nice things. I got lots of sweeties and confectionery and biscuits and stuff from my nieces, and bottles of non-alcoholic stuff, mulled wine, and so on, and lots of reading material, books of various kinds, and generally did, as usual, did all right. I mean, the big thing that I get from people is that because my birthday is Boxing Day, people have always assumed, particularly when I was a youngster, that I used to suffer because of that. But it couldn't be further from the truth. When I was a youngster, I used to enjoy it because me family or friends would give us a present for one or the other, and then usually as a cop out, as an easy way out, they'd just give us a handful of money for the other one. So round about birthday time, I always had a pocket full of money that I could spend on what I wanted, which was quite nice. So there's a little bit of that in this year's as well, because one of my nieces gave us some reading material, but as for my birthday, she's given us vouchers for Wiltshire Farm Foods. So that's good as well, because that'll save me some money when I order me food for my freezer. So I do very well. And we had a bit of a party here because on Boxing Day my granddaughter came, so we had a little party. So I can honestly say, as a 85-year-old this year, that every birthday in 85 years, I've had a party of some kind, and I'm always very grateful for that. So it runs on. Christmas runs on a long time for me, and I'm grateful for that also. But I just absolutely grateful to all the family and friends that contributed. Got one or two unusual presents. I got a book from an old university friend from Shanghai in communist China. He's still a member of the Chinese government, so Jai Long Zhang they call him, and he remembers his time as a research fellow here in Newcastle very fondly. And so bits like that not just give pleasure for Christmas, but give good memories as well. So I've had a good Christmas and enjoyed it as always, and a good birthday on top.
Anything Newcastle United related?
No, as it happens, not this time. No, nothing at all.
Okay, that's good. Drop it in the chat if you've had some kind of Newcastle United present, or just tell us what you got for Christmas. Was it socks, underpants, knickers, whatever? You tell us what you got. Darren, this whole show has been changed because we did feel that you'd be quite negative about Manchester United. So please don't mention Manchester United in your report about what you got for Christmas.
Be fair to you, I don't do Christmas, as you know.
Obviously,
I don't celebrate Christmas when I used to, Steve, to be fair.
Yeah, but you had your Christmas dinner because I saw your photos on Facebook.
Me brother, me dad, but that's probably the highlight of my day, to be fair. That's it.
No presents, Darren, at all?
No, mate. No.
Okay. Well, that's your choice. That's fine. What about you, Jeff? Christmas present?
Well, I bought myself a Christmas present because I'm.
Oh, but this could be interesting, Jeff. I think that everybody in NUFC Matters land will be waiting to hear what the hell you bought yourself for Christmas.
I bought myself a Telecaster. I'm a bit of a Strat man. I've got a few Strats in the real world, but I thought I'll have a go at a Telecaster. I used to love that bird song, "Lover of the Bayou," and I kept playing it. And I thought, I must get one of those. Which was a bit naughty, but it was used a bit, so it wasn't quite as expensive as it might have been.
Okay.
So that was my little treat. And lots of people bought me guitar-related things, and a special little box to keep my plectrums in, and a little light-up guitar to put on the door of his studio, and things like that.
What did you get, Rex?
What did I get, Rex? A big F-off bone. Rex, you got a nice bone, didn't you, for Christmas? That's right. He got a bone, and he got to sit and watch the cricket because he likes the cricket, I'm afraid.
And we won a game. And we won a game, Jeff. We won a game. We actually won a test.
Yeah. I told you it was dead exciting. Yeah. Good boy, that's right. We won, didn't we? Yeah. And, I can explain that it's summer down there. And, I explained the whole concept of the globe to him. Because it's like having a 4-year-old in the house, to be honest. It's great. And we've had some really interesting bird action. Yeah, some really interesting raptors been around, frightening everything away.
Jeff,
and of course they go shooting as well around here.
Have you got your guitar at hand so you could give us a little riff, says Dean?
No.
Maybe for the second half of the show?
Not even for the second half of the show.
Okay. I mean, we'll leave that
at some point I will. And I have got Blade and Races somewhere.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. That's
I
probably...
have to tune it and stuff, it's quite complicated. And then there's leads and bits of wire and things. You've no idea. We professionals, it's really, quite complicated.
Good man. Okay. Pablo, I realize this has been dropped on you, mate, but you are a man who acts on instinct, as I know, as we've known each other many years. What is your have you got a favorite Christmas present? I mean, every present from your lass must be a favorite.
What a Lothario. Yeah, I've got a romantic story on that. So,
a romantic story.
A romantic story this Christmas. I mean, it's not going to make any films, but first and foremost, I'll tell you what I did get for Christmas, mate, and that was a bout of diarrhea on Christmas Eve.
I love the fact that you brought diarrhea into it. I mean,
yeah. Well, you said talk about story. So yeah, I got the diarrhea, pal, but my birthday, like George, is December, so I always have that crossover of presents, and I always feel guilty when people turn up at Christmas for presents for me because I've already got a bag full. But bless her, I think I'd gone out and give her a gift, and I think we'd made a deal with each other not to buy anything for Christmas. But being a man and being a romanticizer that I am, I went above and beyond and bought gifts. So she turned up at the bus station at stand 14 with my little gift in a bag because she was going away for Christmas. So I was handed a beautiful Christmas gift on my bus and then told to jog on. So, yeah, no, I get the usual, and there was only like an 8-minute layover. So it was an 8-minute quick kiss, some aftershave, off you pop, have a good Christmas. That's about what I've got. But I'm the same as I am a stereotypical. My mum, I mean, I'm 45 now. My mum's 75, 76. And every year without fail, it's a pack of Next boxer shorts, pack of 5, usually like with some footballs on or a little bicycle. But I've gone up to a medium this year instead of a small because I've put a bit on. So I got that. I got some pajamas that didn't fit. Every year I get a tub of, you boys of a certain age will know, the tubs of pastels and Smarties every year without fail. And if I don't get them, I'd probably lose my shit, to be fair, and go out and start knocking on doors. But yeah, no, I had a good Christmas, mate. Nice and quiet. We're not going to touch on the football. So yeah, it's been excellent, nice and quiet. And I hope everyone out there has had the best that they can and enjoyed it so far.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. There you go, Dean. I'm still capable of saying that. Yes. Adam, Christmas presents. Well done, by the way, on your sold-out gig at the club.
Yeah.
And you raised how much for Alan Shearer's foundation?
We raised just over 1,100 quid for the Alan Shearer Foundation. So it was a good night. Some class singers on as well. Josh Webb, Joe Bartley, Stella Casta. So they all done really well. Also, and then, I got a message off the man himself to say thank you. So that was a good little Christmas present as itself, I suppose.
Quality. Well done. 2026 is your year, I'm sure.
Yeah, let's hope.
Christmas, how did that treat you?
Well, things that make us fatter, drunker, and clothes that now won't fit. That's how my Christmas was gone, really. Few music-related bits and bobs. It's just, for me, I take, obviously, you have so many years in retail, it's that day off, really, that you get. And it's that blessing of now not being in retail. You think, I'm lucky to the rest of them that are in the shops the next day, really. My birthday is 2 weeks a day, so no doubt it'll be a milk roll with birthday candles in off the family because everyone's skinned it themselves out of Christmas. but I wouldn't have it any other way. So I hope everyone had a good Christmas as well.
I'm just thinking of a collaboration here, lads. Hang on a minute. Jeff, the guitarist, he's got a Stratocaster. You can sing. Let's have it.
I wouldn't want showed up. That's all it is.
Alan, good evening, mate. Hope you're well.
All right, Steve.
Yeah, happy Christmas to you as well. What was your Christmas presents like? Anything other than socks and underpants?
Well, I got the usual book, Steve, but what I'm looking forward to reading is Derek Wright's book, The Physio.
Oh, great book, great book.
So I'm going to get stuck into that because I love my autobiographies about different people. Novelty present I got was Lord of the Rings, Steve, of the film, The Big Ring, but it's a lamp. So it's actually a novelty. So I'm hoping the power works for next season for the lads. So when I wear it, but it's too big to wear, so it's just a novelty value. But the usual, Steve, jumpers, socks, and all things nice and sweets as well. So that's about it, really, Steve. So I'm looking forward to reading the 2 books I got, and had a quiet Christmas like you all did. Went to the usual brothels and got it. And,
I didn't expect that of you, Alan, by the way.
Got out of there, and my wife will kill us for saying that now.
Jeff's definitely a bad influence.
Collected my usual winnings on Boxing Day, Steve, after the 2 did well, the usual defeat. So I collected my winnings on that. So
I'm going with the people in the chat and avoiding any talk about defeats. Tom, happy Christmas to you, my friend. And you've got a bit of snow, which we haven't got in the UK.
Yeah, we've got plenty, and so about 50 centimeters, I guess, for you young people, about 20 inches here, sitting on the ground. It's it's about and it's blowing and it's cold, and it's nice to be indoors with a little bit of something to keep me warm. And the folks on this chat and in this on the screen here that keep you warm too. There, so it's nice to see everybody for sure.
What did you get for Christmas, Tom?
Well, I'm pretty excited as I got a new automatic chicken feeder and to feed the chickens. And it's got on there some grit and oyster shell places for them to have their little treats. And so the girls will be really happy, give me some eggs. And I'm pretty excited about that. So, yeah. And then I also got a solar powered chicken door for it to go up and down by itself. So I'm pretty excited by that. So I don't have to go out at 5:30 in the morning to let them out and etc. So yeah, that's what I got. Taking care of the girls.
Good stuff. Excellent stuff. Great stuff. Thank you to everybody who's chucked in a few ideas in the chat. Yeah, go on.
Can I come back, Steve? Because Pablo reminded us of something wasn't going to mention, but I will now. Underpants. I did get a pack of underpants, and they're quite modern, and I'm quite chuffed with them because when I got them, I didn't realise they haven't got a hole in the front for you to do the necessary. There's a pouch, and when you put them on and you stand in front of them sideways in the mirror, it makes you look like you're 16 again. And I quite like that. That's really, really good for an 85-year-old, you know, to stand there and pretend there's something happening down there that shouldn't be. And but no hole to do anything else.
Okay. Big thanks to Dean Charlton. Dean Charlton's a regular viewer, as you know. He posts quite a few things in the chat. He sent us this. He went, I've just seen a belter pick on Messenger I've just sent you a belter pick on Messenger from tonight. Great timing. There you are, Jeff. There's a good one for you. I'll email that to you, Jeff. You and Rex. Rex really is the star of the show. Okay, we are 20 minutes into the show. And I will ask you briefly, lads, and I mean briefly. I'm going to start with Tom. Just your views on the Man United game. From your perspective, Tom, we're going to start with you first. Man United, Newcastle United lost 1-0. We should have won that game.
Well, we were playing against a second string team for the first 40 or 70 minutes, and then we were playing against an under 21 team, and we could not break them down. Had a lot of opportunities, but we couldn't get it over the line. A few of us were on the chat, and I was screaming to take Ramsey off and go to a 4-2-3-1 with Wissa on. It seemed like that would have been the right thing to do if we're having trouble breaking down a low block. But as you know, I said multiple times, is that Eddie has pre-made his selections, his substitutions the night before. And so at the 72-minute mark, this is who comes in and it's the same thing, rinse and repeat. So I want to keep it short. I'm probably more negative than Darren today, is I think that Eddie just can't make game day decisions that affect the outcome of a game. It just doesn't happen. And quite frankly, I'm a little tired of it. The Sunderland match, there's so many of them. I think we played maybe 3 or 4 halves of good footy this year, and then the rest of it was pretty, pedestrian. So I think Eddie has till the end of the year to turn this around. Otherwise, he's not going to be employed by the team anymore. So
end of the season, Tom, for you then.
End of season, yeah. He's going to get to the end of the season for sure. And we know we're still in the cups. We're still in the Champions League. There's only half the season gone, so there's plenty of time for him to turn it around. But I'm just tired of not being able to make a decision when the match is in play that positively affects the match. And when Man United came with a different formation at the outset, I just think it was lost. And so I was really disappointed with it. So I really like Eddie. I think he's a terrific person, but he needs to get some help, someone that can help him make in-game decisions. Otherwise, it's just going to be rinse and repeat.
Okay, what is going wrong, Tom? For you personally, what is going wrong? Lots of things are getting thrown around on social media. You're on social media. What is going wrong in your mind?
Well, I'm not on social media. This is pretty much it. But what's going wrong for me is that I think Eddie is so set in his 4-3-3, and this is the way we've done it before. And it worked for us before, so it'll work for us again. But I don't think that he has the same personality had to do that. So you have to adjust your formation and adjust your tactics based on your personnel and who you're playing. And it's the same 4-3-3 that, I could tell you right now who's going to start tomorrow and what the formation is going to be. I know that. And I can also tell you when the substitutions and who's going to be substituted tomorrow. So if you're playing, you have to adjust because the league is going to adjust to you. And so that's what makes me so frustrated. It's just rinse and repeat, same thing each and every time. And I think everybody on here, I bet you we would get 10 out of the 11. Every single person on the chat here would say, here's our 10 starters. Maybe this will be one, maybe Joe Linton for Ramsey, or maybe Barnes for Jacob Murphy. But we know what it's going to do, and that and we know what the substitutions are going to come in. So we're going to go up against a low block tomorrow. It's going to be away. We haven't done very successful in either of those things all year. The right thing to do would go to a 4-2-3-1, play Wissa behind Valdemata or something. I just think he's not going to do that. It just frustrates me because he's such a classy individual. He's such a good manager of people, but I just don't think he's a good game day manager. That's the big difference. Is I don't think that he could correct himself. So there you go.
What the hell is that?
Rex.
Rex, stop snoring. I could understand if me and George were doing that, but not you, Rex. You haven't had any Malverno. Alan,
by the way.
Alan, Man United away. The worst Man United team we've faced in years, mate. And you actually bet against Newcastle winning that game.
Yeah. Steve, I could say it's coming off. I could not agree with Tom more. Everything you just said there, so it would be copy and paste. You asked the question, what do you think's gone wrong? I would say numerous things come to mind, But for me, team harmony, I do believe this is where George is quite right. What he said earlier in the season about the players not looking happy. I think when your best player turns around in the summer and says, "You aren't good enough for it," it destroys team harmony, and the fact that we want all of us on this panel want to see we'll win the Premier League one day. I know a lot of people might think that's fanciful with the powerhouses of Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, but all we surely want to see we'll win the Premier League one day. Maybe it's not in my lifetime, but Adam might be lucky enough to see it. And we're further from that than ever before. So I think as far as the reasoning behind it, I do believe a lot of the top name players are feeling sorry for themselves and not putting it in. I think the likes of Gordon and Tonali's now starting to suffer. They're not playing well. And we need, what Tom quite rightly says, we need a top line striker in January to come to the club as well to back up Wissa and Voldemorda. Voldemorda's a number 10, and I totally agree what Tom says. If Wissa's not playing tomorrow, I'm dreading the game tomorrow night, Steve, because I've seen so many teams like that will play and it's a 1-0 defeat or a ones each, and ones each isn't good enough. We've got a boatload of fixtures coming up that are really winnable, and I could be changing my tune in a month's time and saying we've got a chance to top 5 because the 4 or 5 fixtures we've got, we should on paper win them all, but there's not one on paper. So regarding the Man United defeat, it was so predictable, and like I said in the chat coming on the show, we've got the record number of losses, 48 now in football history on Boxing Day. Let that sink in. I've only seen them win 10 times in 55 years in my lifetime on Boxing Day, so it's no surprise that we got beat. And the penalty, it wasn't a penalty, because if people say, well, it was, well, VAR didn't save it, and the referee didn't see it, so it wouldn't have been a penalty even if we hadn't had VAR either. So disappointing. Lewis Hall was playing well. I thought Miley was okay. I thought Shaw was very, very poor. Gordon run around a lot, but we could have played it until next week, Steve, and not scored. And that was the frustrating thing for me. That was the worst Man United team for decades I've seen, and we've had more possession down at Old Trafford than I think in decades as well, and we did nothing for it. And I feel sorry for all the people here and all the fans going down, because we want Eddie to succeed so much, and you try to defend the manager, but performances like that, the social media grow and grow where they want him out. Give me at the end of the season, Steve, see where we finish. I said 9th, Steve, because people aren't taking it in. We've lost one of the best strikers in Europe. Yes, he's had a nightmare so far at Liverpool, but we have lost one of the best strikers in Europe, and we haven't fixed the problem. And so, you know, when you lose 25, 30 goals a season, we've got nothing up front to say that's going to change in the near future, unless a Wissa comes good. I'll leave it at that, Steve. Sorry.
No, listen, no need to apologise.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Well,
mate, Man United away, Adam. I mean, listen, it's a game we never used to win. Now we've become accustomed to winning it. To lose 1-0 down there against a substandard team, I think I understand where the negativity is coming from on social media. But what was your take on it?
For me, it was we could still be playing now and wouldn't have scored. It was just we ran out of ideas as the game was going on, and the lads on about Shaw just all of a sudden hitting long balls and trying things that he would normally do. We've somehow now got a set piece coach, and we're now worse at set pieces. It's unbelievable. I think you look at the game, and it's Man United did well in terms of throwing a spanner in the works by changing their formation for once, and it's something that Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall didn't prepare for, really, which I don't think any other team has, because of how stubborn Amarin is. He's not changed it at all, so why was it going to be us? But it just happened to be. I think it was the whole top and bottom of it, which ran out of ideas again, and that seems to be the pattern at every game this season. Whether we're winning the game, whether we're falling behind, we still run out of ideas on how to keep a lead, how to try and get back into the game. And I think you look at Voltemada and there's bits that he does and you think it's absolutely cracking. You'll come in deep for the ball, you'll take a great touch, play it off, and then he'll slowly get into the box. I think for me, you're going to have to start Visser to be able to ignite that press that you want, to be able to have him, Gordon, Murphy. For me, that's your starting front three, because Murphy's the one who will get the ball and whip it in. Gordon will do his runs and try and cut on the inside. But Visser's got that energy there and pace to ignite the press. For me, Ramsdale should have saved the goal. I know it came through a crowd of bodies, which, again, from a goalkeeper's point of view, is awful. But when you're training and you're a professional goalkeeper, you work on reflexes every single day. And that, for me, should have saved it. I know he got a hand to it, but he should have done better. My worry is the games that are coming up and how close they all are together. I've said this point in the past, there's only been one team I can remember that's coped with being in 4 competitions and they've only managed to do it once, and that was Man City. We haven't got a big enough squad. You look at the games, like obviously we've got tomorrow against Burnley, then on the 4th it's Palace, then the 7th it's Leeds, then it's the 10th of January it's Bournemouth, then City in the Cup, and there's no time for the lads to train. You've got to think they have a rest the day after the games, and then they'll probably do a bit of light training session, work on a bit of formation work, but there's nothing where they've got time in between that actually work on how to adjust the squad to fit Voltemada, how to fit Visser, Ramsey, the new players that we've got. But it's all about squad rotation. Does he sacrifice the FA Cup against Bournemouth and focus on the 3 that were still in and keep his squad fresh for the first against City? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows what's in Eddie Howe's mind apart from the match day subs that are pre-planned. For me, you say so much about Eddie Howe it's the Eddie Howe outgang on social media, and what Alan was just saying there, it is going to grow. The more that we keep getting daft results and getting beat from teams that we shouldn't be getting beat off, it is just going to grow and people will turn, and that is just football. Has he reached his ceiling with us? I'd like to think he hasn't. I just think he hasn't had the time to work with the players he's got because of the games, how many games are coming. I'll leave it at that, Steve.
No, Adam, you obviously, like me, have been involved in like the lower league side of football, and I've gone on record a couple of times over the last 6 weeks and said, God, like these players are getting paid a fortune. Eddie Howe's getting paid a lot of money, and when you look at the other clubs like Manchester City, Aston Villa, teams who've been, Manchester City have got a track record of being in the Champions League. Aston Villa are like us, in and out because of the PSR situation. But is that really an honest excuse from Eddie when he says we can't train? Because everyone's got the same situation thrown in front of them. And yes, Newcastle have been hampered by the PSR situation, but is that a genuine thing that we can say to Eddie? Yeah, okay, you're right, mate. Because I don't think that. I mean, me personally, and you can have a completely different opinion, but for me, I just don't think that sits well with me. Where he's saying we can't train on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think, like I say, it's like you say, like in the lower leagues as well. It's you get games every 3 or 4 days, and it's how you recover. But that's Eddie Howe's job as well to filter into the players how they're going to adjust that as well. So yeah, like it is 2 sides of the coin. It's they can't train, but is the manager and is the players who are getting paid these wages, they should know how to react as well. It's like I say, it's both sides of the coin. Can they cope with it? As players, are they good enough to cope with it? And are we buying the right players who know how to be able to deal with these situations, really?
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. Pablo, lots of interesting debate, and me and you are probably very. I think we're both straight talkers. I think that's probably the best way to describe you and I. And you and I have known each other probably a lot longer than a lot of the lads on the fans forum. But it's a strange time. Social media does change things, because I've got to be honest, Pablo, if me and you live next to each other and we went down to our local, in fact, if everybody on the fans forum all lived next to each other and we all went down to the local for a pint and we all had a chat like we do on the fans forum, it would be that's you get a different conversation. But online, Pablo, honestly, things have escalated massively, as they usually do, to the point where now fans are trying to, in a social media way, try to kill each other over this how in, how out situation. Is that right or is it wrong? And what's your feelings on the Man United game?
I think ultimately, whether it's right or wrong, it's where we are, not only in football but as a society as well. Everything is magnified 1000%. And I think with us, I think a lot of this boils down to as well, lads, is we were so good last year. You know, we kind of overachieved ahead of the curve to a certain degree, you know, and I think we kind of rode on that crest all summer. What happened with these that did, and I think naturally as a fan base, we're not deluded. We just understand what we actually have in our hands, you know, which is a fantastic football club and city ready to go to the next level. So I think probably this year we really have. I mean, let's be honest. You know, when we look at the league table now, what we 14th, and we're looking up at lofty teams, and I think we have fallen flat on our arse. And I think there's a couple of factors for that. Now, number one, for me, everyone's culpable on that pitch, in that dressing room, certainly in that dugout. I am not in the Eddie Howe camp out as yet, but I can see it going that way. You know, if he doesn't do something drastic, and that is, you know, get a few results and give us a respectable league position, which a respectable league position for us, I don't know, anywhere from 4th to 7th, 8th, you know.
You're talking the end of the season, Pablo.
It will do, because I think because like we keep saying, we're still in cup competition. So what the fans are doing at the minute, right?
We're in a semi-final, mate.
Exactly that. So we're holding on to that glimmer that we're going to do something in the cups, and that
we're one win away from being in the final stages of the Champions League.
Exactly. And if something was to come of that, that would be the saving grace, and we go again and we build again for next year. But with that, my friend, as you know, is going to come greater problems, because if we don't qualify for the Champions League this year, I can guarantee you Billy Big Bollocks, Gordon, I don't want to say Bruno, because listen, he is what he is, but your big blue chip players will start making noises. Then we have a full rebuilding situation. I think a couple of things that I was getting to, for me, it's for Eddie, as in footballing terms, he's lost a yard of pace in that dugout. And I mean, mentally, you know, the lads have highlighted it. We highlighted each week. We don't really have a plan B and a plan C. Now, there's two ways you can go about football management. You either stick with consistency in the vain hope that everybody pulls together and eventually the results come, or you are a moving parts manager. You change with the times, you change with the game. You change. The Premier League is the most tough in the world. You know, them managers out there, they're savvy guys, you know, they're not guys managing second division teams. They're coming from top European clubs, having won everything. And if you're not moving with them and watching them and learning from them, and we seem stuck in a rut. And I think recruitment for me this year, we rolled the dice, you know. We brought 4 or 5 lads in quick time. You know, we waited till the end of the window, really. And that could have been worked in 2 ways. It could have even been an absolute masterstroke where we're now sitting 3rd and 4th, or it's going to fall flat on its arse. And in my opinion, it's fallen flat on its arse, bar one, and that's Malik Chow. And I include Walter Mardy in that. I'm going to say this. I watched Brentford versus Bournemouth the other day. Now, Brentford are 8th. They've got a new manager, Keith Andrews, with no management record. They're sat 8th, and they absolutely destroyed Bournemouth. Their front lads, that is the epitome of a big man up front for me. That big lad up front, and Kevin Shard are playing off him. They're like absolute electric and on fire. Now, that's Brentford. We're Newcastle United. So, you know, for me, there is disappointment. And I don't want to be termed negative, but we need to start being realistic. We are 14th in the league. We can't pick up consistency. We can't pick up results. We're all holding on to the fact that we're going to win a cup. And listen, I hope we do. And these next 4 games, if we get average, mediocre results in these next 4 games, we may as well just pack up and go home in the league. That's how it is. That's reality. You know, we've been spinning this line now for the last 2 months on forum, waiting for something. And we all know on paper, we can beat a team. We've got great players, but the season's 38 games in its entirety. You can't keep talking about one-off results against Man City. It's every week that we're seeing the same mistakes. I understand there's reasons for it. Eddie doesn't have a massive squad. I get that. But things have got to change. Otherwise, he will lose his job in the summer.
Is he to blame, Pablo?
Listen, he can only do so much, you know, and whether Eddie chose those players to come in the summer, I mean, that's the big.
I don't think he did. I don't.
No,
I don't think Eddie Howe picked those players. I think Eddie Howe wrote his list as he normally does, and I'm trying to educate the NUFC Matters followers who follow every different show. But Eddie Howe writes a list, then that gets passed up the chain, and let's face it, in the chain in the summer there was no sporting director, and there was no director of football. There was no CEO because Darren Eales was ill and getting treatment. And from our perspective, we had no director of football until Ross Wilson came in. And Ross Wilson didn't come in until those transfer deals were done. So he writes a list. He passes that list. So the only person who was accepting anything to pass on to PIF was Peter Silverstone. Peter Silverstone was the man who was the man, for me personally, if you want me to say who is to blame for the mess that we had in the summer, it's Peter Silverstone. Because Peter Silverstone, although his job coming into the club was to bring in sponsorship, bring in this, bring in that, bring in the other, Darren Eales was unable to do it because of health, and we understand that. But Peter Silverstone was the man who was passing on that list that Eddie wrote with Darren Tyndall or whoever he writes it with, and Graham Jones. He would have passed that on to somebody who was next in the chain. And then that person who was next in the chain at that time was Peter Silverstone. Then there are some faceless PIF people who we will have passed that to. And then it goes to Yasser Al-Rumayyan. And Yasser Al-Rumayyan is the man who has the final say because he's the chairman. And for me, Pablo, right, Yasser Al-Rumayyan took his eye off the ball. I believe that when he came over to Newcastle to have that meeting with Alexander Isak, I believe that when he walked into that house with all that kind of, furore that we saw around it, I believe that he felt that Alexander Isak could be persuaded to stay at Newcastle United. And I believe what happened then was that Yasser Al-Rumayyan felt then, after he left that house, was that he'd been led up the garden path by the people he'd put in charge. That's what I believe, Pablo. I believe that he felt that there was no reason in the world why he couldn't say, as he did, remember what he said was, he's going nowhere. We're not letting him leave. I believe that what happened there was he had a reality check, and his reality check was very simple. The people he had in charge of Newcastle United weren't good enough to do the job.
I certainly wouldn't disagree with that, Paul. And like you say, it does seem as it, I mean, even when you talk about things like stadiums and where we're going in the future and investment, it does seem there isn't that kind of gusto anymore. Now, whether Eddie's feeling that as well, and he's actually, maybe he's sowed a seed in Eddie's mind. Maybe he has taken his foot off the gas and thought, I'm pulling my plums out here and I'm only getting given, an Alanga or this and that and the other. I'm being promised this and the other. But I think you are right. I think there is an element from above. I think
Stephen Howe's comment there. Oh, come on, Steve. Howe was involved in recruitment. How do you know, Stephen? I know a little bit more than what I would ever let on this channel. And Stephen, believe you me, what happens with managers nowadays is they create a list, they give it to somebody, and then good luck. This isn't the days of Brian Clough turning up at Washington Services with a brown envelope and handing it over to somebody and saying, will you sign for Newcastle United? Will you sign for Sunderland? Will you sign for Liverpool? Will you sign for Manchester United? Oh, come on, Stephen. That's what I'm saying to you. And yes, I've had a Malverno or two today. But believe you me, Stephen, you are living in cloud cuckoo land if you think that Eddie Howe has got any say on transfers. And yes, I tell you what Eddie Howe said in the last 7 days is very important. I don't think I'll be there when there's a new training ground or a stadium. That tells you where he's at now. He's had enough. He doesn't give a great deal away, but he's had enough. And if he can get away, he'll be away. And who's going to come to Newcastle United? Because at the moment, I've got to be perfectly honest, it's better than Ashley. Of course it is. But it's not what we thought it was going to be.
It's not the promised land, is it?
It's turning
not.
stale.
It's turning stale. Exactly. That's probably the best way to describe it. And it's only turning stale because our expectation levels were so high, because we thought we're going to be the next Manchester City. And we're not in that position now anymore. And that's disappointing. But I don't want to be somebody who is being, talking down to supporters. I'm 53. I've been there. I've done it. I've got the T-shirt. I've been through ups and downs multiple times. I've seen some terrible teams. I've seen some terrible players. But the main thing is, for me, as a Newcastle United fan, that's what I am. I'm a fan. And as George has said many times, fan is short for fanatic. And for me, it doesn't matter. I'll still be going home and away. As long as I can, I'll still do the podcast. And it's such an awful situation we find ourselves in when fans are fighting amongst each other. And the fans forum has had a bit of criticism in the last 3 or 4 weeks, because I do read the comments. Scrap the show, do this, that, and the other. There's people doing this, people saying that, people doing the other. But you know what? I'll never change what I do on this platform until I can't do it anymore. Because at the end of the day, this program for me might not get the same numbers as the Amigos or the professionals, but this shows you a good cross section of supporters. This shows you people who've been there, who have been supporters of Newcastle but now can't get back in. It shows you young supporters who can get to the odd game but can't get back in on a regular basis. It shows you people like myself, although I'm always behind the scenes deliberately on this show because this isn't my show, who've been there since the 80s, home and away. It shows you people like George, who played for Newcastle United and who has got more experience than any of us. And it's got people like Jeff, who create comedy, which we need in these times. And it brings you people like Darren, who are full of negativity. So Pablo, we'll move on from you. And Jeff, I'm going to keep you to the last, because Jeff, I am going to keep you to the last. I'm going to go to George now. George, you and I have had a good day today, by the way. What a good day, wasn't it? George, you're on mute, I think. Hold on. I think it might be. Yeah, there you go. George, I can hear you now.
Yeah, there's some great snoring going on in my house at the moment. Never mind. I'm only bemused about one thing. We're all looking down in our boots. And you know what, lads? We're not a point away from where we were this time last year in the league.
Yeah, this is true.
So I've not got the sackcloth and ashes out yet. But yes, there's questions to ask. I mean, the Manchester United thing was a debacle in every sense of the word. And their idiot manager tried to help her. He took the two most experienced defenders he had off, put two more kids on, and we ended up playing their youth squad almost. And still we couldn't do it. And, if you can't energise your team or change your team around of seasoned professionals, Mark, many of them internationals, then we've got all sorts of problems in my view. Worse than that, though, is that I'm still smarting's putting it mildly, over the previous defeat. To have my team in what is regarded as the worst ever Premier League game in history. The worst. One shot on goal, and it was a bloody own goal. The rest was the worst. Every record you look at, the worst ever in the Premier League. Do I like my team in that? Of course I don't. And I hope that Eddie Howe doesn't either, and I expect him to do something about it. I'm a long way still from the Eddie Howe out brigade, but we're entitled to ask questions, and that's what the beauty of this program is. It gets people a chance to ask questions and not go over the top. But Manchester was a debacle. That's the only word that I can use. To have all that possession and not be able to score a goal is just unbelievable. So he's got a chance to put things right. I hope he will. However, the other side of the coin is that the side that played the first 45 minutes against Chelsea at St James's Park would give any Premier League team a run for their money. You know, what's changed between that half time and the 2 half times that have followed? There is something amiss, and I seriously think that the management and maybe supporters now are beginning to realise the absolute disaster that Alexander Isak caused in our dressing room. Yeah. And I don't underplay what part that's got to play with what's happening now. And in any workplace, when something goes wrong, people take sides. I don't care where they are. And there were those in the dressing room who would be cheering Alexander, not cheering him on, but wishing him well. And there were those in the dressing room who'd be, not giving the lickings of a dog. I mean, I heard a rumour that there was one stage where they had to take Bruno off him. Bruno was so incensed. Well, when that sort of thing's happening in the dressing room, it disrupts everybody else. And as you know, I continue, like, if I get the chance to see the players as they come off the bus and how they look like when they're warming up and that sort of thing. And we've lost the smile for football. And that's the bit that bothers me. We've lost the smile, and we need to get that back quick. Other things, somebody mentioned, training Voltemada. Well, Jones is, I'm understood, is working with them continually on 1-to-1 to try and adapt his play to suit how we play. And Graham Jones is no slouch. In fact, it's noticeable that when we score, the players tend to run to Graham Jones and not Eddie Howe. So there's so much that was disappointing. But I haven't got the sackcloth and ashes out yet. I'm still hopeful that team that played that first half against Chelsea will suddenly appear again, and we'll end up where we did last year, because from a very similar position to where we are now.
Tom, I left you backstage, and I'm gonna come to you. The Man United game was a strange scenario, but I mean, you've listened to what the lads have had to say about what's going on, and it is a strange time.
Yeah, I've commented on a little bit negative for sure, but if you look at the table, that there's at least 9 teams above us that have worse rosters and thinner rosters, right? So there is a problem, whether that's in the locker room with Isak left. I don't know, but George would know more than I do. I'm just more, I think Eddie has a lot of credit in the bank. I'm not anti-Eddie. I just think Eddie needs some help, for someone to help him with in-game tactics, because that's my biggest frustration with Eddie Howe. He has to be more flexible.
Yeah. Okay. Simple as that. That's and for me, Gavin, I agree with what you just said there. Look, what has happened since Leeds started playing 2 up front. Calvert-Lewin, Lewinsky has scored 7 in a row, and that is what Walter is, a striker that plays in a pair like the great Alan Shearer. Yeah, listen, Gavin, that's something that Eddie's got to sort out 100%, and I think that's what a lot of fans are crying for. But I think we all know that Eddie is very stubborn, and I don't think that Eddie will suddenly revert to 4-4-2 just because people on social media or podcasts are saying it. Jeff, I'm going to come to you before Darren.
All right.
Jeff, what's your feelings for the Man United game?
The Manchester United game. Well, I wasn't that impressed with Arnie's snots machine. And they brought on some big hair. They brought on more and more big hair. They've got some really big hair there, and it didn't seem to make a lot of difference. And in terms of our game, we seem to have forgotten the art of passing the ball into the net. I mean, frankly, it is difficult to get the ball into the net when there are, most of the squad standing in front of the goalkeeper. And as somebody's pointed out, we are 1 win away from relegation. 1 win away from promotion, or 1 loss away from relegation. You know, there's not a lot of going on in the league at the moment. Right. And in terms of the game, the people who give the ball away, which I regard as the big sin, are the younger players, generally speaking. It's the people we have a lot of faith in becoming good in the future are the ones that do bad things, giving the ball away. Right. Getting back to the game itself was on Sky. And they showed briefly the fans. Just once, I think they showed the fans actually that we were there. But you could hear us singing. We outsung them. And they even had a little view of the Man United box, sponsored the Botox box, where all the readers' wives who've got all their look from, readers' wives page on Shoot. I mean, Mick Jagger's got a lot to answer for, I think, personally.
That was never in the magazine that I read, Reader's Wife.
Yeah. Anyway, in other news, I was reading in Vanity Fair, by the way, that the new stadium is going to have a drop in banger racing track, which ought to be good. And there's a new range, because we're going to America, there's a new range of a stab-proof training top and a shrapnel-proof beanie that you can get. Also, I've discovered some interesting Christmas traditions that have gone a bit wise. That the wise men arrived on unicorns. And there's a blue plaque now in Bethlehem. God was born here, 1 AD. And it's got 2 stars on TripAdvisor. And unfortunately, Little Bummer Boy has been spoiled for me by Rolf Harris. And in the USA, when we're going to have the new World Cup, I believe, Kristi Noem is going to open it by opening her throat and swallowing a Labrador puppy, I believe.
What was the song called? Little what
by the way,
Little what boy?
Little drummer boy. That's it.
Said, it's drummer boy. I thought, yeah.
And Jesus, or Jar as we call him, was a refugee. So niggle blancmange, remember that. And don't dare wrap yourself in our flag. It's got blood on it, mate. Right. And there's some interesting Christmas specials. The usual sort of pawn shop basement. We found this loot in our basement special. And if you're thinking about sort of trying some new drugs over Christmas, just remember they've mostly been up people's bums and they taste faintly of sorbitol. Or Sensitol, rather.
Can I just say, as always, as I always do, whenever Jeff is on the show, this is Jeff's opinion, not Steve Wraith or NUFC Matters opinion. And would like to thank Jeff for his contribution to the show, no matter how relevant or irrelevant it is.
And have a nice Sensitol lubricated New Year.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, let's look ahead to Darren now. And Darren, we're just coming to you for your views on Manchester United. Now, you weren't going to Man United, but you got a last-minute ticket, mate. I didn't go. I didn't go because Boxing Day, home and away, I always go to Boxing Day, but 8 o'clock at night, absolutely ridiculous. And the lads who I normally go with all went. You got a last-minute ticket. You can speak from the horse's mouth, mate. It was disappointing on the TV, mate, and I'm sure it was disappointing being there at the coal face.
After everybody's comments, I kind of agree with you, Steve, what you said about anyhow start the season. But you know, I can sit here and say he was shite, he was rubbish. You know what? I'm not going to, because it's football. That's what we're.
It is.
Newcastle, watch Newcastle.
I deliberately left you the last tonight, Darren, when we talked about Man United. Because of that, I wanted you to hear what other people thought, because I knew you were at the game.
Still, like it's yeah. You know what I mean? I love football. I can watch football, and I watch lower league football. I go all over watching them, and I think passion in the lower league. And to me, we'll never go like Adam said. We are now not scoring. We took Voldemar off, and then they say they crossed the ball in for. We said who's not a header. Who can win a ball in the barn door with his head? I feel for Eddie. I think Eddie's ready to go, and if the results don't change in the next couple of months, me personally, I hope I'm wrong. I'll have all the things. I'm sure down here, not ready, not out. I don't think he'd be here, and with the results going, people say we're better than them, we're better than that, you're better not. At the minute, I don't think we're better than the top. You could say 8 teams are not better. They're better than us. Because the goalkeeper situation, like, was like, you know, I said, we're looking across, so I didn't see the goal, but when you have a look of it, he should have saved it. My opinion, that was his save wasn't too far to the left. He had a chance to save it. To me, I think I'm expecting to keep the save that. Was struggling on defence because he got Miley playing right back. Yes, he had a good game, but Lewis Hall he had a blinder. Yeah. But if something's not right, they've lost the oof of the tracking back and the pressuring. Voldemort keep coming too deep. But you was think, you're like, I'm not going to be really like we had fun playing. They were booing at the end. I don't know why booing the players. They did try somehow, but when fans like, you know, I'll go out the game. Well, I'm not going to come. Well, fuck off, them come then. But we go support our team through thick and thin, and we'd all be like the other supporters. Oh, we'll just go, we will win. We're live fans, and now no one likes losing, but it is what it is. I'm going to modesty again.
Me too.
So I couldn't. You've got to go and watch the match and enjoy it. I've got Wolves. I've got the Liverpool, so I've got a busy schedule next month. So I'm gonna. But I just don't. Anthony Gordon, he doesn't really do much on the. He didn't. He got a goal, but to me, he didn't really do much. My mate Murphy, he was shite, to be fair. Tonight doesn't look right. And Bruno tried. Yes, we had a lot of possession in the second half, but we're just never going to score. Even you know, Man U fan attacked a couple of Man U fans. They said they were waiting for us to score, and we didn't. They were surprised. That's Man U fans saying that. But we just got to rub ourselves. I just need to get the group together, get them in the change room, have a heart to heart, and ask the players what they want to see, what they want out of the season. If get that on one way or the other, we'll keep on losing the next month or so, 2 months, get knocked out of all the cups. Wasn't much next to Eddie Howe. You know, I'm hoping wrong, Steve. I hope he's yeah, but I care what Tom said. I just don't think he's got a big plan. That's the worrying thing. He's stubborn. He sticks with his formation. Well, you needed a goal in the last 5-10 minutes. Well, and you're putting Fabian Shaw front, but bring young Sean Neal on. He's scored goal in reserve. We're going to lose. He's gone down fighting high on the strike on the pitch. I just think how to just, I don't know, his decision making now. I mean, I'm starting to question his substitutes are so particular what time, what minutes. So
I will say one thing about the substitutions thing. Every manager makes substitutions at the same period. I would say that, and like, you know, when I've watched numerous games over the Christmas period, but I watched every game on Sky in August, and everybody seems to make that substitution on the 60-65 minute mark. So it's not something that's set in stone with Eddie Howe, but I think what's annoying Newcastle fans is that it's becoming a predictable substitution. It's not a change in formation, and he has changed formation a couple of times this season, but it's not the change in formation that people want to see, which is ideally, you know, in a game against Sunderland where you're losing a game 1-0, or in a game where you're losing against Man United where you're losing 1-0, in 2 games where really we could have won those games if we'd maybe gone for it. You know, if we'd brought Wisser on and played him with Voldemort, maybe. But it's all ifs and ands or pots and pans. That's where we're at the moment. And, Eddie Howe is the man who works with these players on a day-to-day basis. We've got to put our trust in him. Okay, listen, we are going to go slightly into overtime. We're going to go around the board and have a listen on the lads' predictions for Burnley. But because we don't have an amigos between now and Burnley, Scunny Mag very kindly has sent us a review of if you're going to Burnley, this is where you've got to go.
Hi folks, Scunny Mag Paul here with another away day guide. This one's for Turf Moor. If you're heading down to watch us take on Burnley, there's some important changes for visiting fans from this season. So I'll cover it later, help you not get lost. Everything you need is coming up next. Okay, Burnley have called Turf Moor home since 1883, and for this season we've been moved to the north end of the cricket field stand. If you're coming in by train, the one you'll most likely come into is Burnley-Manchester Road, and that's served by services running from Manchester Victoria all the way through to Leeds. If you are driving there, the cricket ground next door do have spaces, but it fills up pretty quick. You have to get there early for that. Failing that, quite a lot in the town centre. It's only a 10-15 minute walk into the ground. Moving on to pubs for those coming on train, the most convenient one will be the Old Masonic Hall, also known as Nelson's House locally. But that is like just outside the train station. You'll leave the area, start heading along Manchester Road towards the town, and it's just on your left before you go over the canal. That's got an old working men's club vibe to it. You may have to pay a nominal fee to get in the front door. It won't be a lot, but edgy, tasty digs will get you to the car park entrance. Once you are done there and you're heading up closer to the ground, you'll head sort of under what looks like a railway bridge. Just past there, you've got the Shoreditch Arms, Shoreditch Inn, whatever it is. Bit gimmicky and everything. But from there up to the ground, they are pretty much all home fans only. So give up then until you get to the cricket ground. Turn left, you'll find the driveway entrance at Grand Bowls Pint, which will walk you up the side of the pitch to the cricket pavilion, and that is a dedicated away fans pub right next to the ground. You literally look out the window at the top of the stairs inside and you'll see the away turnstiles. It's a cracking welcome. It's a nice little place. They're well staffed. They're set up for the day. They're serving you as quickly as they can, but they've got pie and peas, cheap drinks, Sky TV. What more could you ask for? And then once you're ready to head in from there, you need to go back down the driveway, turn right and right again around the tree, and head back up an alleyway, which is basically just where you've come from, all the way up to that corner of the ground. Same pie as goes as you walk 3 words for the turnstiles on your right, and when you get in, there's a marquee on the right. Before the match, they have beer and pies, stuff like that in there, and it's another great example of how Burnley just seem to get it. When you get up to the stands, there's no restricted views. As you're looking out to the goal, you're going to be to the left of the goal behind it, and they've got big scoreboards at the other end for you to see what's going on and your video replays and stuff. So anyway, kudos to Burnley. If you're going, enjoy your day. Cheers.
I do love Burnley, and thank you to Scunny Mag for all of his efforts this season. I know he's going to continue in 2026, so much appreciated. I just want to read a few of the comments. Well said, Darren. That's what sets Newcastle fans apart. Was always a class atmosphere at away matches pre-takeover when we were shite, even in relegation seasons. Well said, Darren, says Tom Dixon. And a couple of other points as well. Denise said we were better. We were the better team and played better, but just never looked like scoring at all. The final balls were off. We just never looked like scoring, obviously referring to the Manchester United game. And a couple of other points as well. League form is inconsistent. We are not getting rolled over. Eddie is asking for tons of crosses. That's what's happening. The front players are not reacting to the crosses. That is a real bug. Yeah, and I think that's probably what showed up at the Man United game. 100% right. Okay, George, we're going to come to you first. I know me and you are on live tomorrow, but we will get your prediction tonight anyway. What's your feelings about the match at Burnley tomorrow, George?
And it's going to be a 2-0 victory.
A 2-0 victory, and we can hear Mitch still snoring. 2-0 victory. That was George's prediction. Darren?
I'm going for a 2-1. We will concede again, but I thought a 2-1 win.
A 2-1 win? Okay, well, I've already gone early on this game. I said my heart said 2-1, but I think it'll be a 1-1 draw tomorrow. What about you, Jeff?
3-0, and I will remind anybody, well, Alan in particular, you can put your money on a team beginning with B coming up and a B team beginning with B going down. It's one of the things. 3-0.
Thanks for that, Jeff. That's left me, and after 6 bottles of Malverno, that's left me questioning my existence. I've got no idea what the hell that means.
Blackpool, Burnley, anything you like.
I've got you. Can you just put Rex back? Can you just put Rex back on the screen for me, mate?
Rex,
The new sofa.
say Happy Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy Christmas. Oh, look, for some reason your camera's further back and we've got a full. We've now got a full.
I've
We've
dropped
now
the
got a
remote
full.
control,
That's
unfortunately.
right, Doug.
And we're going to get. Look at Darren's now getting jealous. Darren's now getting jealous.
Please, Darren. Darren's joking.
What's your dog called, Darren?
Buster.
It's
Buster.
Yeah.
Named after a great train robber, and yours is named after a great actor, Jeff. Great stuff.
Named after a king.
Oh, it's after a king. Okay.
Yeah.
Pablo, predictions for the game.
Well, my dog's named after a shit contestant on X Factor. Then Chico.
Where is your dog? Where is the dog?
He's upstairs. He'll be chilling. He'll be having a manicure or something.
What you need to do is, can I just give you a bit of advice for the rest of the shows over the course of the next few months? Can you just get some treats in your hand and open the cat flap at the top and make sure your lass just knows that the dog is up there. She keeps the dog up there, and you can just chuck a treat down and come up and down the stairs. This could be a bit of entertainment, but the reason I've said this is it could keep the light switched on.
This is, do you know what? You bang on, and there's a problem with that, mate, because he can get down the stairs, but he's worried about getting up the stairs. He has to be carried up.
Oh, he's got anxiety.
He's anxiety. He's got an anxiety dog, yeah. Mitch sounds anaesthetised. Are you sure he's not been in the old dentist surgery this afternoon?
Where is Mitch? Can you not do like a photograph? Where, George, can you not put like Mitch? Can you not do the camera where you can just show us where Mitch is?
He's done the old dentist Gaza.
So here I am presenting a show on NUFC Matters after drinking the same amount as Mitch, and I'm presenting the show. Okay, yes, I'm old, but you can say, Steve, you're in darkness, but I'm in darkness every Monday because it's not my show. And there's Mitch. Mitch, I've done you, son. I've done you. Thanks, Jeff.
He's going to kill you for that. Burnley were tough. They gave us a good do last game, didn't they? I'd say, listen, let's be positive. I think it will be tight. It's going to be a 1-0 win.
1-0 win to Newcastle United. Okay.
And it'll be like going back to 1976 going down there, lads, so be careful.
I love Burnley, by the way, and big shout out to Nathan, who used to do the fans forum years ago. He's always very hospitable whenever I go down there.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
Okay, Adam.
I'm going to say 1-1. I think we'll score early, and I think it'll be classic of the season, and they'll score later on.
Good stuff. Okay, we're coming to you, Alan. Finally.
My head says 1-0, Steve, but my heart says 2-0, and I'm going with my heart 2-0 to us.
Yeah, you're the same as me.
I just desperately want to win, Steve. We desperately need to win to get into this cycle of, at the start of the season, you would have given away 90% certainties would win at Burnley. Yes, a tough game, as every Premier League game is, but it's a 50-50 game, and it shouldn't be like that. So I'm going for a 2-0 win. We've got to win, Steve. We've just got to win.
Melbourne says, I can't believe you drank as much as Mitch. Yeah, I actually finished my glass of wine. He didn't. But to be fair, he was out with Penman on Boxing Day, so I'll give him that. Can I just say, I would like to dedicate the show to. I'd like to dedicate the show to a few people. There's one or two people who I'd like to dedicate the show to, as I often do. I've lost one or two people over the last 12 months who've been very close to me. But unfortunately, one of my celebrity mates has had a big car crash today, which may have made the news. And I just want to say, thankfully, he has survived. Big AJ is somebody who I've been a friend of since day one, before anyone knew who he was, before he became a champion at any level. And he's a lovely lad, and he's a top lad. And you know what? His two friends have passed away in Nigeria today. But that was horrendous news that I got today about a car crash that he was involved in. And I was involved in a car crash many years ago at 80 miles an hour, and I walked out of it with a little bit of damage to my clothes. My car flipped twice, and I landed on a central reservation facing oncoming traffic at 7:15 in the morning. And that whole news today really did shake me a little bit, because I thought, wow, you've just had a life-changing experience, Anthony, because it was life-changing for me. Because when you're involved in a car crash like that, it doesn't matter whether you're sober, whether you're having a drink or whatever. A car crash is a car crash, and it's not a nice thing. But to hear two people have lost their lives is awful. But AJ, lovely lad, glad you survived. But rest in peace to the two people who passed away. And I'd love to. I'll dedicate this show to somebody who I've got a lot of time for, because he is a genuine fella, no matter what anybody thinks of him. Thank you to everybody on the fans forum who has contributed in 2025. The lads here tonight, Alan, Pablo, Jeff, Darren, and George, of course, who have been with us for probably all of 2025. Adam has been a welcome addition, and Adam is a very talented young musician who is going to have a great 2026, and who I'm going to do my best to help massively, because I think everybody who follows this show knows that I've got a big interest in music, and I only put my faith in people who I think are talented, and this kid is talented, and he's done very well. He did a sellout show at the Clooney, obviously just before Christmas, so well done to him. But thank you to everybody else who's contributed, and there's a few people who can't make it tonight for various reasons. Big shout out to Kev. Kev, obviously in America, he's had massive issues over the course of 2025 with his personal life, and that's been a big thing for him. Big shout out to Magnus, who clearly is in so much darkness today that he couldn't find his computer.
He's snowed in. Steve. He's snowed in.
Martin Nesbitt, who on and off has been a valuable member of this panel as well. Who, listen, work comes first, Martin, and I'm sure you watch the show still, and your family's got to come first. And we don't expect everybody to be on every show. And I know I've stopped sending them the link, is basically what I'm going to say. But you know what? There's been so many contributors, and I'll stop it there, because you'll end up upsetting people who haven't made it on the show tonight. There's been so many contributors over the first 5 years of the fans forum, and you've all been fantastic. Some who have packed in because of personal reasons, and I do read the comments, and some of the lads do. I know Pablo does. Some people saying this is an absolute waste of time, this show, and don't do this show anymore, and it's ridiculous, blah blah blah. But you know what? We'll continue to do it, because it shows a wonderful cross section of wonderful people.
Steve, give yourself a bit credit, mate. You run the show. You're like the no face referee in the background. You know how to control us in a fashion, because we all go off it.
You lads are great, though. You know why? Because you're genuine people.
Give yourself a bit credit, mate. You're the Joe. Like, we all know it's your problem, but we all do, because we're all good friends in this program. We get on, and yourself, you run the program, but you do it well. Everybody knows you do. We met through NUFC through you. That's how we all. I've never met George. Well, then you said Pablo, Alan. I've never met any of them, and we all become good friends. And that's down to and you're saying yourself. So give yourself a big credit there, Steve. You know you're a little bit pissed, but well done.
Thank you, mate, and happy birthday to Tom Dixon in the chat.
I might see that tomorrow, mate. I might see down Burnley tomorrow.
Hopefully we do. We will be back next Monday, looking back on the last couple of games. But thank you, everybody. And good night to Rex as well. Take care, everybody. Happy New Year.
All the best, lads.
Yeah.